The grand hall was buzzing with whispers under golden chandeliers, thick with the clink of glasses with the and the rustle of glasses and the murmurs of rich. At the center of the room, on a polished wooden
Ethan
stage,
Caldwell
stood a gleaming
CEO
of StarTech Industries,
pieces shining
stood
under bright
tall
light.
in his sharp black suit,
Grandmaster
his piercing blue
Victor
eyes scanning the
Korsakov.
crowd. Everyone
The
was
world's
staring,
greatest chess player,
whispering, waiting for him
smirked
to speak.
as he leaned back in
His
his
heart
chair.
pounded, not because of
His
the
opponent,
hundreds of eyes on him,
a woman no
but
one
because
knew,
of her,
dressed in a plain
standing
blue
beside
dress,
him, her
her
arms
hands
nervously
through
twisting
his-
a handkerchief.
was Leela.
The crowd
woman
snickered.
so stunning.
This was
The
no
room
match
seemed
to
to
fade away. Was a joke.
Her emerald green
Victor
dress
had
invited
invited
her,
curves,
a
her
nobody
dark hair
named
cascaded
Clara,
like a waterfall,
to play chess
and
in
her
front of
smile was
everyone,
brighter than the lights
just
to
above.
show off. She
But
was
now,
perfect. Something
perfect.
impossible was happening,
And that was the problem.
Clara's hand
Ladies and
moved.
gentlemen,
Slow and steady.
Ethan began,
sliding
his voice
her queen
steady,
across
but his
the board.
palms sweaty.
Checkmate. I'd like to introduce
She
my
said
wife,
softly.
Lila
The room
Caldwell.
fell silent.
The crowd gasped.
Victor's smirk vanished.
Then clapped. His king
But
was
Ethan's
trapped.
mind screamed.
The crowd gasped.
She's not my real wife.
Their eyes wide.
This was all a lie.
As the simple woman
A
in the
deal
plain
to
dress
save his company.
defeated the
But as
unbeatable
Lila
champion.
smiled and waved,
How could this
her
happen?
beauty stealing every
The hall
breath
was
in
so
the room.
quiet you could hear a
Ethan
pin
felt
drop.
a jolt of fear.
Clara looked up. How could
Her
someone
brown
he just
eyes
met
calm
make
but
his heart
sharp,
race like this?
and the crowd held
And
its
what if
breath,
everyone found out
waiting
the
for
truth?
what would happen next.
He glanced at her.
But how
and
did
her
a
eyes
nobody
met his,
beat a
sparkling with
grandmaster?
secret? Only
What
they
was her
shared.
secret?
Then,
And why
she
was
leaned
Victor
closer.
trembling?
Her whisper
The story
hot
began
against
3
his
days
ear.
earlier in the small
Relax,
town of
Ethan.
Willow Creek.
They believe us.
Clara was a
For
cleaner
now.
at the local library.
His stomach twisted.
A quiet woman
For
who
now?
kept to herself.
What did she mean?
She swept floors.
The story
dusted
rewinds
books
to 2
and
weeks
smiled at
earlier.
children who came to read.
Ethan Caldwell
Nobody
was
knew
in
much
trouble.
about her.
His
except
company,
that she lived alone in a
StarTech,
tiny house and
was
loved
the
puzzles.
biggest tech firm in the
Every
city.
evening she'd sit by
But
her
it was
window,
falling apart.
solving crosswords.
Investors
or playing
were
chess
pulling
against
out, saying
herself
Ethan
on a
was too
worn-out
young,
board,
too single,
She wasn't
too
famous,
unstable to
not like
lead.
Victor Korsakov,
A family
whose
man is
face was on
trustworthy,
every
they said.
newspaper. Get a wife.
Victor was a
or we're
chess
done.
legend.
Ethan
a man who
didn't
never
have time
lost.
for love.
He was in town
He
for a
needed
big
a
chess
quick
exhibition
fix.
where
That's
he
when
played
his
against
best
local
friend,
players and
Max,
won easily.
came
as
up with a
always.
crazy idea.
The town buzzed with
Hire
excitement.
a fake
But
wife.
Claire didn't care.
It's simple.
She wasn't
Max
invited
said,
to fancy
sipping
events.
coffee in Ethan's
She was
sleek
just Clara,
office, the cleaner.
Find a girl.
That morning,
pay her to
Victor
act like
had
your wife
stopped
for
by
a few
the
months,
library to
and the
sign
investors will
books.
back off.
He
You'll
was
save
tall,
the company.
with slick black
Ethan
hair
laughed at
and
first,
a smile that
but
made
as more
people
investors
nervous.
threatened to leave, Clara was
got
mopping the
desperate.
floor when he noticed
Max
her.
found an agency
Hey,
that
you,
paired people
he
for
called, his voice loud
special
and teasing.
arrangements.
Do you even
That's
know
how
what chess
Ethan
is?
ended up meeting Lila.
The people around him laughed.
The agency office
Clara
was
looked
small
up, her
and
face
plain.
calm.
Nothing like
Yes,
the dazzling woman who
she
walked
said
in.
simply.
Lila was
Victor's
confident.
grin widened.
Her smile bright
really?
but sharp.
Then
Like
come
she
play
knew
me at the
something
exhibition.
Ethan didn't.
It'll be fun.
I can play the
The
part.
crowd laughed harder.
She said.
They thought it
tossing
was
her
a joke.
hair. Clara
But I
wasn't
have
a chess
rules.
player. He was
No
nobody.
feelings. No
But
drama.
Clara nodded.
Just business.
Okay,
Ethan agreed,
she said,
thinking it
her
would
voice
be
steady.
easy. The room
She
went
was
quiet
just a
for
hired
second,
actress,
then erupted
right?
in giggles again.
But when she walked
Victor
into his
waved his
mansion
hand,
that evening,
already turning away,
wearing a simple
Be
jeans
there,
and
he
t-shirt
said,
combo
chuckling.
that somehow looked
It'll be a
better
good
than
laugh.
any gown,
Clara didn't
Ethan's
say much
heart
after
skipped.
that.
She went back
This
to
is a
mopping,
mistake,
her
he
face
thought.
unreadable. Over the
But
next week,
inside,
they
something
practiced being a
stirred.
couple. She wasn't angry.
Lila moved into his
but
mansion.
she wasn't scared either.
And they memorized fake
She had a
stories
secret,
about how they met.
one she kept for years.
A cute coffee shop
Nobody
moment,
in Willow Creek knew it
and fell in love.
Not even her closest
A
neighbor.
romantic beach
Clara
trip.
wasn't just a cleaner.
But every time
Long
Lila
ago,
laughed or
she'd been
brushed
something
past
else,
him, someone else.
Ethan felt something
And
stir,
chess?
something dangerous.
Chess was
She
more
was
than
too
a
good
game
at
to
this.
her.
It was
At
her
dinners
life,
with his team,
hidden
she
away in the
charmed
shadows
everyone.
of her witty
past.
jokes and warm
That
smile,
night,
making them believe
she sat
was
at her
his
little
perfect
table.
match. Her old chessboard
Ethan started
in front
to
of
wonder.
her.
Was
She
she
moved the
too
pieces
perfect?
slowly, her
One
fingers
night,
steady,
while practicing their
her
love
mind
story
racing
by the fireplace,
she wasn't playing
Lila
for fun.
caught him staring.
She was preparing.
What?
She asked.
The day of the
smirking.
exhibition arrived,
Falling for
and
me
the
already.
grand hall was packed.
Ethan laughed it off.
Rich people in
but his
suits and
cheeks
dresses
burned.
filled the seats,
Just
whispering about
"You're
Victor's
good at
brilliance.
this," he mumbled.
Clara walked
Lila's
in,
smile
her plain
faded,
blue dress
and
standing
for a
out
split
against the
second,
sea of fancy
her eyes
clothes.
looked sad.
People stared
"I've had
and whispered.
practice," she
Who's
said
she?
softly.
Why
Then
she here?
turned away.
Victor
Ethan
was already
frowned.
on stage, waving
Practice?
to the crowd.
What did
like
that
a
mean?
king.
Was she hiding
When
something?
he saw Clara,
The
he
night of
laughed
the
and
big
called her
gala
up.
arrived.
Ladies
The
and
one
gentlemen,
where they'd
he
announced
said,
their
his
marriage
voice
to the
booming.
world.
Meet
Ethan
my
was
special potential
nervous.
opponent. But Lila was
The cleaner
calm.
who thinks she
Her
can
beauty
play chess.
like a weapon as she
The crowd
stepped into
roared
the
with
ballroom.
laughter.
The crowd
Clara
loved
climbed
her.
the stage, her
But
head
Ethan
high,
couldn't shake
her
the
hands
feeling
steady.
that something was
She
off.
sat down.
As they
and the game
danced,
began.
her hand tight in his.
At first,
she whispered,
it seemed like Victor
"You've got a
would crush
problem."
her.
Someone
moved
here
his
knows
pieces
me.
Fast. Ethan's
Smirking
heart
as he
stopped.
trapped her pawns.
He
The
asked.
crowd cheered every
His
time
voice
he made a
low.
move.
Clara
Lila's
was
eyes
quiet,
darted to a man
her
in the
eyes fixed on
Cornera,
the board.
tall figure with a cold
She
stare,
moved slowly,
watching them like a
carefully,
hawk, like she was solving a
My
puzzle.
past.
She
Victor
whispered,
laughed,
thinking she
and
was
he
clueless.
could ruin everything.
But then
Cliffhanger.
something changed.
Who was this
Claire's
man?
moves started
And
to
what
shift.
secret from Lila's
Her
past
pieces slipped through
could
Victor's
destroy their
traps
fake marriage?
like water through a net.
Ethan's world was about
Crowd's
to turn
laughter
upside
faded,
down, and he
Victor's
wasn't ready for
smirk
what
turned
came
into a
next.
frown.
Ethan's
He
heart
leaned
raced
forward,
as he spun
his hands
Lila
shaking
across the
as he
ballroom
studied the
floor.
board.
The music
Clara
loud
was
but
calm,
not
her
loud
face
enough
like
to drown out
stone.
her words.
And then,
My past.
in one swift
She'd
move,
whispered.
she slid
Her eyes
her
locked
queen
on a
forward.
tall man in a dark
Checkmate,
suit standing in the
she
corner.
said.
His cold
room
stare
went
cut through the
silent.
crowd. Victor
Pinning
stared
Lila
at the
like a
board.
spotlight.
His face
Ethan
pale.
tightened his grip on
The
her
crowd
hand.
was frozen.
His mind
Their
spinning.
mouths open.
Who is he?
Clara stood up.
And what does he
Her
know?
handkerchief still in
The
her
gala
hand,
was supposed to be
and
their
looked
big
at
moment.
Victor. The night
He
they
opened his
convinced
mouth to
everyone
speak,
they were a
but
perfect
no
couple
words
to
came
save
out.
StarTech. What had just happened?
Now,
With this stranger
who was
watching,
this woman?
Ethan felt
And
like
what
the
would
whole
Victor
plan
do
was
now?
crumbling, humiliated
Keep
in front of
smiling.
everyone. Lila
The
hissed.
answer hung in the air,
Her lips barely
sharp
moving
as a
as she
knife.
flashed a dazzling
As
grin
Clara
at the
stepped
crowd.
off the stage,
We can't let
and
him
walked
ruin
toward
this.
the door.
Ethan
The
forced
grand
a
hall
smile,
was still frozen,
but his eyes darted
the silence
to the man.
heavy.
As
He
Clara
was
stepped
older,
off the stage,
maybe in his 40s.
her plain
with
blue
sharp
dress
cheekbones
swished
and a
softly,
scar
the
above
only
his left
sound in the
eyebrow.
room. He
Victor
didn't clap
sat at the
or cheer
chessboard,
like the others.
his face red.
He just watched,
his hands gripping the table,
his expression unreadable.
The crowd's eyes darted
Ethan
between
leaned
him
closer
and
to
Clara,
Lila, waiting for
pretending
something
to
nuzzle
any
her
to break
ear.
the tension.
Who is he?
Clara
He
reached
whispered.
the edge of the stage.
Lila's body
her head
tensed,
high,
but she kept
her
her
heart
voice
was
steady.
pounding.
Someone
She hadn't
I
meant
used
to make
know.
a scene.
She just wanted to play.
Don't let him talk
But
to me
now,
alone.
everyone was
The
staring,
dance ended,
and whispers were
crowd
starting to creep
clapped.
through the crowd. Ethan led Lila
Who is
off
she?
the floor.
How did
his
she do
hand
that?
on her back.
Is this a
Guiding
trick?
her toward
Claire's
a quiet
hand
corner
tightened
near
on
the
her
dessert
handkerchief.
table.
She
wanted
knew what
answers.
was coming.
But before he could
Questions.
ask,
Secrets.
a group of investors
A
swarmed
past
him. She'd buried
all
long
smiles
ago.
and questions.
As she stepped toward the
What a
door,
lovely
a voice
couple.
shouted,
Wait,
said Mrs. Harper. It was Victor,
a key
standing
investor,
now, his
with a
voice
sharp
shaky
tongue.
but loud.
How did
Who
you
are
two
you?
meet?
He demanded.
Lila laughed.
Clara stopped,
her voice smooth as honey.
her back to him.
Oh, it was so
The room held
romantic.
its breath. Ethan
What
spilled
would she
coffee
say?
on me at a little shop
Would she reveal
downtown,
her
and the rest
secret?
is history.
Or would
the
something
investors
else stop
chuckled,
her?
eating it up.
3 days before
Ethan
the
nodded
exhibition,
along.
Clara
But
had
his
been
eyes
cleaning
kept
the library
flicking
as
to the man in
usual.
the corner.
The old
hadn't
wooden
moved.
shelves smelled of
As
dust
the
and
investors
paper,
drifted away,
and sunlight streamed
Ethan
through
pulled
the tall
Lila
windows.
behind a tall plant.
She liked the quiet.
Talk, he said.
It gave her
his
time
voice
to
low.
think.
Who
to
is that
remember,
guy? And
why
why
were you
remembering
scared?
wasn't always good.
Lila's smile vanished.
Clara had a past she
And
didn't
for the
talk
first
about.
time,
Not to
she
the
looked
librarian, not to the
vulnerable.
kids who came for
His
story
name
time,
is
not to
Victor.
anyone, she said.
10 years
Her
ago,
voice
she had
barely
been
above
Clara
a
the
whisper.
cleaner.
I worked
She'd
for him a
been
long time ago.
Clara
Voss. He's not a good
a young
person, chess
Ethan.
prodigy. If he's here
Winning tournaments across
you know
the
something's
country.
up. Her
Ethan's
name was in
stomach
newspapers. Her
Works
picture
for
on
him?
magazine covers.
Doing what?
She was only
Lila
16,
hesitated,
but
her
she
eyes
played like a
darting away.
master. Her mind
It's
sharp as a
complicated.
blade.
I'll tell you later.
Everyone
I
said she'd be
promise.
the next world
Just
champion. But then
keep him away from me.
something happened.
Before Ethan
Something
could push
bad.
for more,
Clara
Max,
wouldn't let
his
herself
best
think
friend,
about it. Appeared,
not anymore.
his face pale. She'd left that
Ethan,
life behind.
We've got a
changed
problem.
her name. He whispered,
and
moved to Willow
pulling
Creek
them
to
deeper
start
into
over.
the shadows.
Chess was a memory.
That guy,
locked
Victor,
away with her old
he's been
self.
asking about Lila.
But Chess had a way
He told
of
one of the
finding her.
waiters he's got proof
At the
your
library,
marriage
she'd
is
sometimes
fake.
sneak a look at the
Ethan's
chess
blood
books,
ran
her
cold.
fingers tracing the
Proof?
moves.
He
She'd
asked.
play games in her
Max
head,
nodded.
imagining matches
He's got a
against the greatest
document or
players.
something.
It was her
Says
secret.
he'll
show it to the
a quiet
investors
joy.
unless you talk to him.
When
Victor came to the
Now,
library that morning,
Ethan
laughing
glanced
and
at
teasing her,
Lila,
something
whose
inside
face had
Clara
gone
woke
white.
up. His words
What kind of
stung.
proof? He
They
demanded.
also lit a spark. Lila shook
Come
her head,
play me.
her voice shaky.
He said, smirking.
I don't know.
It'll be a
But
laugh.
Victor,
Clara
he's
knew he
dangerous.
was mocking her.
He doesn't
She saw the
bluff.
crowd snickering,
Ethan's mind
thinking
raced.
she was nobody.
If Victor
But she
exposed
wasn't
them,
nobody.
the
Not on a
investors would
chessboard.
pull out. She'd
And
agree to
StarTech would
play,
collapse.
not to prove anything
Everything
to
he'd
Victor,
worked for would be
but
gone.
to herself.
But
She
looking at
wanted
Lila,
to feel that
her eyes
spark
wide
again.
with fear,
even just once.
He felt something else
Back
they
in the
need to
grand
protect
hall,
all, the moment stretched on.
Okay,
Clara turned
Ethan
slowly
said,
to face
squaring
Victor.
his shoulders.
His eyes
I'll
were
talk to
wide,
him.
angry, but also
Stay here with
scared.
Max. Who are
Lila
you?
grabbed his arm,
He
her
asked
grip
again,
tight, his voice
Ethan,
softer now.
Don't.
The crowd leaned
You
forward,
don't know what he's
hungry
capable
for
of.
answers. But Ethan was
Clara's
already
mouth
moving,
opened.
weaving through the crowd
But before
toward
she
Victor.
could speak,
The man's
a
cold
man in a
eyes
suit
locked
stood
up
up
from
to
the
him.
front row.
a slow smile
was older,
spreading across
with gray
his
hair
face.
and sharp eyes.
Mr. Caldwell,
Clara Voss,
Victor said, his voice smooth like a snake.
his voice cutting through the room.
I hear you've got a new wife.
Gasps rippled
Funny
through the
thing,
crowd.
I
Clara
know Lila
froze,
better than you do.
her heart skipping
and
a
I've got a
beat.
story that'll
How did
ruin
he
your
know that
little
name?
act. She hadn't
Ethan's
heard it
fists
in
clenched.
years. What do you
The
want?
man stepped forward,
He asked,
holding an old
Victor
magazine.
leaned closer, his
On the
smile
cover was a
growing.
teenage girl,
Money,
power,
smiling,
and Lila, with a
Tell me
chessboard
what I
in front
want,
of her.
or I tell
It
everyone
was
the
Clara
truth.
10 years ago.
Ethan's heart pounded.
You're her,
He glanced
aren't you?
back at Lila, who was
The man
watching from
said.
across the room.
The
her
prodigy
face pale.
who disappeared.
Then Victor
The crowd
dropped the
erupted
bomb.
in whispers.
Oh, and one more
Victor's
thing,
face
he
went
said,
pale, pulling
Clara
a photo
felt the
from his
room
pocket.
spin.
It
Her
was
secret
Lila
was out.
in a
She
wedding
wanted
dress,
to run, standing
hide,
next to him,
but her feet
She's
wouldn't
not
move.
just a fake wife to
The
you,
man
Ethan.
held up the
She
magazine,
was my fiancée.
showing everyone the picture.
Cliffhanger. Ethan
Clara Voss
stared at
was
the
unbeatable,
photo, his
he
world
said.
spinning.
Then she
Lila
vanished
was engaged
after,
to Victor?
Well,
What other
after what
secrets was she
happened.
hiding?
he didn't
And how
say
could he
more,
trust
but
her
Clara
now?
knew what he meant.
As Victor's laugh
memory hit her
echoed
like
in
a
his
wave
ears,
pain.
Ethan knew
Shame.
one thing.
The reason she'd
This
run
night
away.
was about to get a lot
She lost
worse.
everything back then.
Ethan's heart
Her family,
thundered as he stared
her
at the
future,
photo in Victor's
all
hand.
because of one terrible
Lila,
moment.
radiant
She
in a
looked
white
at
wedding
Victor,
dress,
then
smiled
at the
up
crowd.
Victor, their
He
eyes
looked
full
younger,
of shock and
less
curiosity.
cold, but
She
still
wanted to
menacing.
explain the ballroom's
Tell him
golden
why
lights
she left,
and cheerful
but the
chatter
words wouldn't
faded
come.
into a dull roar.
Victor stepped down from the stage.
Ethan's mind
his face a
screamed
mix
one
of anger
question.
and confusion.
Lila was engaged
Is
to
it
this
true?
creep? He asked.
He glanced across the room at her.
Are you Clara
standing
Voss?
with Max?
Clara's
eyes
hands
wide with
shook,
panic,
but she nodded.
She'd seen the photo
just once.
She
The
knew
crowd
Victor
gasped
had
again.
dropped a bomb.
Victor
What
laughed.
do you really want, Victor?
But it wasn't his usual
asked,
smug laugh.
his voice low.
It was nervous.
Trying to keep his anger in
So
check.
this was a setup?
Victor's smile
He
was
said,
sharp, like a
You
knife.
planned this to humiliate
Simple.
me?
I
Clara
want
shook
$10
her
million
head.
by tomorrow.
I just wanted to play.
Or I show this photo
she
to
said
your
softly.
investors.
They'll
The
know
room
your
was
marriage
buzzing
is a
now.
sham.
People whispering,
And trust me,
pointing.
I've got more
The man
proof
with the
texts,
magazine stepped
emails,
closer.
even a
Tell
video
us, Clara,
of Lila admitting
he said.
she's done this before.
Why did you disappear?
Ethan's stomach
What
twisted.
happened to you?
Done this before?
Clara's heart raced.
What did that mean?
She hadn't wanted
Was
this.
Lila a professional
She hadn't
con
wanted
artist?
anyone to know.
His fake wife was
But
turning
now,
into a real
the
mystery.
past was catching up.
Victor slipped
and
the
she
photo
couldn't
back
escape
into his
it.
pocket and leaned
She
closer.
opened her mouth to speak.
Oh, but then the
and I
doors
want
at
Lila
the back of the
she
hall
owes me.
burst open. His voice
A
dripped
woman
with
stormed
menace.
in,
her face
Ethan's
red with
fist
anger.
clenched, but before
Clara!
he could respond,
She
a soft
shouted,
hand
her voice
touched his
echoing.
arm. Everyone turned.
Lila. Clara's
She
eyes
crossed the
widened.
room, her face
She
pale,
knew
but
that
her
voice.
chin high.
It was someone
Victor.
from her past.
Stop.
Someone she'd never
She
thought
said,
she'd see again.
her voice
The
steady
woman
despite
pointed at
the
Clara,
fear in her eyes.
finger shaking.
This isn't about Ethan.
You don't belong
it's about
here.
us. She
Victor
yelled.
laughed, cold
The crowd
and
gasped.
cool. Victor
Us?
stepped back.
You
Clara's
ran away,
heart
Lila.
stopped. You
Who
broke
was
our
this
deal.
woman? Now
And
you'll
what
pay.
did she want with Clara
Ethan
now?
stepped between them.
The grand
His
hall was a
protective
storm of
instincts
whispers
kicking
as the
in.
woman's voice
Back
echoed,
off.
sharp and
He growled.
furious. She's
You
with
don't
me
belong
now.
here.
The
Clara.
words felt real.
She shouted again.
Too real.
Her eyes blazing.
And for a moment, Clara stood frozen.
He forgot this
her
was all
handkerchief
fake.
twisted tight in her
Lila's
hand.
hand tightened
The
on
crowd
his arm,
turned, and he
their
caught a
faces
flicker
mix
of something
shock
in her
and
eyes
curiosity.
gratitude.
Maybe,
The woman marched forward,
or
her high
was
heels
it
clicking on the
another
polished
lie?
floor. Victor
She
smirked.
was tall,
Cute,
with dark hair pulled
but you
tight
don't
in a
know her
bun,
like I
and
do.
her face
kid.
was one Clara
Ask
knew
her
too
about
well,
the scam we
Lillian,
pulled in
her
Chicago.
old chess coach from 10
Ethan's
years
heart
ago.
sank. The one who'd
Scam?
been there when everything fell
The
apart.
crowd around them was
Victor
starting
stepped
to
back,
notice.
his eyes
Whispers
darting
spreading
between
like
Clara and
wildfire.
Lillian. The man with
Mrs.
the magazine,
Harper, the investor,
still holding
was
it
watching,
up, looked
her eyes
stunned.
narrow.
What's going on?
Ethan needed
Someone
to
whispered.
act fast.
Clara's heart
We'll
pounded.
talk later, he hissed
Her
at
past
Victor.
was unraveling in front
Not
of
here.
everyone. He grabbed Lila's
Lillian
hand
stopped
and pulled
a
her
few
toward the
feet
balcony,
away
her
from
fingers
prying
still
eyes.
pointing. The cool night
You
air
ran
hit them
away,
as they stepped outside.
she said,
The city
voice
lights
shaking
sparkling
with anger.
below. Ethan
You threw it
spun
all
to
away,
face her. And now you're here.
Tell me the truth,
humiliating
Lila.
Victor like it's a game.
Now,
Were
Clara's
you engaged
throat
to him?
tightened.
She
And
wanted
what's
to
this
speak
about a scam?
to explain.
Lila's shoulders slumped,
But the memories
her
flooded,
confident act crumbling.
back painful.
It's not what you think.
heavy
She
memories.
said,
Her voice shaking.
What had Lillian come
Victor
to do?
and I would
We were
Clara's
never
secret
really
finally
engaged.
destroy her?
It was a job.
Or was
like
there
this
something
one.
even bigger?
I was
hiding
young,
in the shadows, broke and
The
desperate.
day before the exhibition,
He hired me to
Clara had
pretend
stayed
to
up
be his
late.
fiancée.
her small house
trick
lit
some
by a
rich
single lamp.
investors. Her old
I didn't know he was
chessboard
using me to
sat
steal
on the
from them.
table. Pieces
When I found
scattered
out,
from hours
I
of practice.
ran.
Her
She wasn't
eyes
just
filled
preparing
with
for
tears.
Victor. She was battling
I've been
her own
running
fear.
ever since. 10 years ago,
Ethan's mind
Clara
reeled.
had been a star.
He wanted to believe
a
her,
chess prodigy
but doubt
at
gnawed at
16.
him.
She'd won every tournament.
Is this just another
Her
job
name
to you?
whispered with awe.
Lila's lips parted.
Lillian had
but
been
no
her
words
coach,
came out,
pushing her
her
to be
silence
perfect.
cut deeper,
But
than
perfection
any
came
lie.
at a cost.
Before he
During
could
a
press
national
her,
championship,
Max burst
Clara
onto
had
the
been
balcony.
accused of cheating.
His face grim.
Someone claimed she'd used a
Ethan,
hidden device to win.
It's bad.
It
Victor's
wasn't
talking
true
to
she'd
Mrs.
never
Harper.
cheated, but the
He's
scandal
showing
was
her something
everywhere.
on his phone.
Newspapers
I think
called
it's that
her a
video
fraud.
he mentioned.
Her family
Ethan's
turned away,
blood ran cold.
ashamed. If Victor
Lillian,
showed the
her
investors
coach,
proof,
had abandoned
StarTech
her,
was finished.
saying
He
she
looked
couldn't
at Lila,
defend a liar.
Her face streaked with tears.
Clara was alone
and felt torn.
Her dreams
Part of him
shattered.
wanted to protect her,
So she ran.
but another part
She
screamed
changed her name.
she was trouble.
Moved to Willow
Stay
Creek.
here,
And became a
he told
cleaner.
her, hiding
His voice
from
hard.
the world. I'm handling
Chess became
this.
her secret comfort.
He stormed back
Played
into
alone
the ballroom, ready to
in the
confront
dark.
Victor.
When
But
Victor
the man was
invited her
already
to play,
surrounded by investors.
Clara hadn't planned to reveal
His phone
herself.
glowing with whatever
She just wanted to feel
proof he
alive
had.
again. To touch the
Miss
board,
Harper's
Harper's
eyes
eyes
locked
locked
onto
onto
Ethan.
her
But
expression
now,
icy.
in the grand hall,
Mr.
her
Caldwell
past was crashing down.
she called.
Lillian's
her voice
sudden
cutting
appearance
through the
made
crowd.
Clara's stomach twist.
Care to
Why
explain
was
this?
she here?
Cliffhanger.
How had she found her?
Ethan
Clara
froze
looked
as every
at the
eye
crowd,
in the room
their
turned
eyes
to him.
hungry for drama.
Victor's smirk
The
grew
man with the
wider,
magazine stepped
and
forward.
the phone in his hand
Lillian,
held the key
he
to
said,
destroying everything.
his voice cautious.
Was Lila's story
What are you
true,
talking about?
or was she playing Ethan
Lillian's
just like
eyes
she played
didn't
Victor?
leave Clara.
With the truth
She was
about
my
to
student,
explode, Ethan
she
had
said,
one chance to save
her
his
voice
company
cold.
and figure out who
The
Lila
best I
really
ever
was.
had.
Ethan's
Until
heart
she
pounded
betrayed
as
everyone.
he faced Mrs. Lid.
Gasps filled
Harper's
the room.
icy stare.
Clara shook her head.
The ballroom's chatter.
I didn't betray
fading to a
anyone,
tense
she
hum.
said.
Victor
Her voice
stood
soft but
smugly,
firm.
his phone
I
glowing
didn't
with
cheat.
whatever evidence he held.
The crowd murmured.
The investors leaned
Victor
in,
crossed
their
his
murmurs
arms,
growing louder.
his face unreadable.
Ethan's mind
Then
raced.
why
He
run?
had seconds to save
He asked.
StarTech and his reputation.
If you're innocent,
Mrs.
why
Harper,
hide?
he said, forcing
Clara's
a calm
eyes stung
smile.
with tears. She
There's
refused
been
to
a
let
misunderstanding.
fall. Because no one
Let's
believed
discuss
me,
this privately,
she said.
But
Not
Victor
even
laughed,
you, Lillian.
holding up his phone.
The room went
No
quiet
need for
again.
secrets, Caldwell.
Lillian's face softened for
Let's
a split
show
second,
everyone the
then
truth.
hardened again.
He tapped
You
the
could have
screen,
fought,
and a
she
video
said.
began to play.
Instead,
Loud enough
you
for the
vanished,
nearby crowd to
and now
hear.
you're back.
Lila's
Playing
voice
games with a
echoed from the
grandmaster.
phone.
Clara
Clear
took
and
a step
confident.
forward, her voice stronger.
It's easy money,
I played
Victor.
because he asked me
Play
to.
the part.
I won
Charm the rich guys
because I'm
and
good.
walk away with a fat
The
paycheck.
crowd whispered louder now.
The crowd gasped.
Some
and
nodding.
Ethan's stomach dropped.
Others shaking
It was
their
Lila,
heads.
the man
Younger,
with the magazine
in a
spoke
dimly
up.
lit room.
I covered
talking
the
to Victor
scandal back then.
like they were partners in
he said.
crime.
The
I'm a
video
journalist.
cut to her
I
laughing.
always thought there
saying,
was more to the story.
Love's just a game, and I'm
He
good
turned
at
to
winning.
Clara.
Mrs.
What really happened,
Harper's
Clara?
face
Why were
hardened.
you accused?
Is this your wife,
Clara's breath
Mr. Caldwell?
caught.
She'd
She
never
asked,
told anyone
voice
the full
dripping
truth.
with disdain.
Not even herself.
Ethan's eyes shot to Lila.
The memory
who stood
was
frozen
too
near
painful.
the balcony
But
doors.
before
her
she could
face
speak,
pale. Lillian laughed.
He wanted to believe her
sharp,
story
bitter
about running
sound.
from Victor.
You
But
want
the
the
video
truth?
painted a different
She said.
picture of Lila, who
Ask
played
her about
people
the
for
man
money.
who started it all.
It's not what it
the
looks
one
like.
who ruined her.
Ethan said.
Clara's heart
his voice
stopped.
shaking.
She knew
Victor
who
smirked.
Lillian meant.
Oh,
A
it's
name
exactly
she hadn't
what it looks
spoken
like.
in 10 years.
She's a pro.
A
Caldwell,
man who'd been her friend.
You're just her latest
a
mark.
rival,
And
the
her
crowd
betrayer.
murmured.
The crowd
Ethan
leaned
saw
forward,
investors
sensing a bigger
whispering.
secret. Some
Victor's
already pulling
eyes
out their
narrowed.
phones.
Who?
Likely to call
He
their
asked.
lawyers. Clara's hands
Lila
shook
pushed through the crowd.
She didn't want
her
to say
eyes
his name.
blazing.
But then
Victor,
the door swung
stop
open again.
twisting everything.
A man
She
walked
shouted.
in, tall and thin.
That video's
with
old,
a
and
scar
you know
on his
it.
cheek.
You forced
The
me into
room
that
gasped.
life.
Clara's
The crowd
face
hushed, went
sensing
pale.
drama. It was him.
Victor
Damien,
raised an
her
eyebrow.
old rival,
Forced?
the one who'd accused her
You
of
loved the
cheating
game,
all those
Lila.
years ago. Tell them about
He
Chicago,
smiled.
how you walked
A
away
slow,
with $500,000.
dangerous
Lila's
smile.
hands shook.
Hello,
As
Clara.
she faced the crowd.
He said, his
I was
voice
18.
smooth as ice.
Broke,
Miss me?
and alone.
The crowd
She said.
erupted in whispers.
Victor promised me
Lillian
a way
stepped
out,
back,
but it was a
her
lie.
face pale.
I left when I saw
Victor
who he
looked
really
confused.
was. Thief.
Clara felt
Who
the world
used me.
tilt.
Ethan's heart
Damien was
twisted.
here.
Her words
In
felt
Willow
raw,
Creek, after
real,
all these
but
years.
doubt lingered.
What did he
Was
want?
she acting now, just
And
like
what
in the
would
video?
happen now that her greatest
Mrs. Harper
enemy was
crossed her
standing in
arms.
front of her?
This is a
Grand
circus,
hall
Mr.
buzzed
Caldwell.
with nervous energy as
If your
Damien
marriage is a
stood at
lie,
the entrance.
we're done here.
His scar glinting
Ethan's
under
mind
the
scrambled
lights.
for a way out.
His smile
Then
was
an
cold.
idea hit.
And his
It's
eyes
not a lie,
locked on
he
Clara,
said,
like a
stepping closer
predator
to Lila
spotting
and
prey.
taking her hand.
The crowd whispered,
We're together.
sensing sensing for real.
Danger. The words slipped
Clara's
out
heart
before he
raced,
could stop them.
her mind flashing,
and
to
Lila's
10
eyes
years ago,
widened
when Damien,
searching his
his
face.
rival, had
Was
accused
he
her of
lying
cheating.
to
She
save the
trusted him
company?
once he'd been her friend,
Or
her sparring
did he
partner
mean
on
it?
the chessboard. Victor laughed,
But he'd betrayed her.
Cute, but I've
spreading
got
lies
more
that ended her career.
emails, contracts,
Now,
Lila's whole history.
Here he was.
He
in
waved his
Willow
phone,
Creek,
But before he
staring
could
her
show
down.
more, Max appeared.
Lillian stepped
out
back,
of breath,
her face pale.
Ethan, as if she hadn't
Security's
expected
on the way.
Damien to appear.
I found something.
Victor's got a record.
Still on the stage.
Fraud,
Looked between them.
blackmail,
Confused
the
but
works.
curious. He's wanted
What's
in
this
3
about?
states.
He demanded.
The crowd gasped
Damien
again and
ignored
Victor
him, stepping
smirked
closer
faltered.
to Clara.
Ethan seized the
thought
moment.
you could hide forever,
Mrs.
didn't
Harper,
you?
Victor's
said.
the liar here.
His voice smooth
Let me prove
but
it.
sharp.
He turned to
But
Lila.
Chess always finds you.
His voice low.
Clara's hand
Help me.
shook, but she
Tell
stood
me
tall.
everything now.
What do you want,
Lila's
Damien?
eyes
She
filled
asked,
with tears, but she
her voice
nodded.
steady despite
There's
her
a
fear.
file.
The
she
crowd
whispered.
leaned forward. In Victor's
Hanging
car,
on every
outside.
word.
It's got
What
proof
was
he framed
Damien
me for
planning?
Chicago. And could
If we
Clara
get it,
face
we
him
can stop
after
him.
all these years?
Ethan's heart
The
raced.
night before the
Trust her
exhibition,
and risk everything.
Clara had sat
or
alone.
let Victor destroy
her
them.
chessboard glowing under
Security
her lamp.
guards burst into
She
the room.
played out old
heading for
games in
Victor,
her head,
who was already
including one
slipping toward the
against
exit.
Damien.
Cliffhanger.
Back then,
They'd
Ethan
been
had to
equals,
choose
pushing each
chase
other
Victor
to be better.
and find the
But
file that could
something
save them.
changed.
Damien
stay and
grew
face the
jealous
investor's wrath
as Clara's
as
star
Victor's
rose
accusation
higher.
spread.
At the national
Lila's hand
championship,
trembled in
he claimed
his,
she used a hidden
and he
device
realized
to win,
the truth
showing
about
a tiny
tearing his
earpiece
own
to the
feelings.
judges.
Was
Clara
closer
had
to
no
slipping
idea where
away
it came from.
than
She'd
ever.
never used it, but the damage was done. The chess world turned on her, and Damien walked away, his reputation untouched. Clara had run, unable to fight the lies. Now, seeing him again, those memories burned. She'd spent years hiding, but the chessboard had called her back, and now her past was here, demanding answers. In the hall, Damien laughed, a low, mocking sound. "What do I want?" he said. "I want a rematch, Clara, right here, right now." The crowd gasped. Victor raised an eyebrow, stepping forward. "She just beat me," he said, his voice tight. "You think you can do better?" Damien's smile didn't waver. "Oh, I know her game," he said. "I know her tricks." Clara's stomach twisted. He was bringing up the old lies, trying to make her look guilty again. The journalist, still clutching the magazine, spoke up. "A rematch could clear things up," he said. "Clara, if you're innocent, prove it. Play him." The crowd murmured in agreement, their eyes hungry for more drama. Clara looked at Damien, then at the chessboard on the stage. Her heart screamed to run, to hide again. But something else to rate a fire she hadn't felt in years. She was tired of running, tired of being called a cheat. She turned to Damien, her eyes hard. "Fine," she said. "Let's play." The crowd erupted in cheers, but Lillian grabbed Clara's arm. "Don't," she whispered, her voice urgent. "You don't know what he's capable of." Clara pulled away, confused. What did Lillian mean? Was there more to Damien's lies than she'd known? She climbed the stage, her blue dress catching the light. Damien followed, his smile growing wider. Victor stepped aside, watching closely. The board was reset, and the game began. Damien moved fast, his pieces aggressive, like he wanted to crush her. Clara played carefully, her mind sharp but her nerves frayed. The crowd watched in silence, the tension thick. Then, halfway through the game, Damien leaned forward, whispering so only Clara could hear. "I know your secret," he said, "and I'll ruin you again." Clara froze, her hand hovering over a pawn. What secret? The cheating lie, or something else? Her eyes flicked to Lillian, who looked terrified. The crowd didn't notice, but Clara's heart pounded. What did Damien know? And what would happen if he told the world?